Ghosts in the house. Noises in the night. It was the 1830s in rural New Hampshire. Since no school buses or cars existed back then, Virginia had a long walk to and from school every day. She liked walking through the farm fields because it gave her time to think. Sometimes she'd meet up with friends and they'd pass the time talking. One day, Caleb told her that he had heard strange sounds while staying at his grandmother's house. His grandfather had died recently, and many of his belongings were stored in the attic. Caleb said that anytime he walked past the stairs, he left a cold chill. Virginia asked him to stop talking. She was getting scared. She too lived in an old farmhouse with an attic. She too heard noises in her attic. She grew worried and wondered if her house was haunted. When Virginia arrived home, she wanted to ask her mother if she believes in ghosts, but decided against it, and said she quietly and feverishly did her chores. She helped with dinner, washed all the dishes, and swept up afterward. Later in the evening, she was so exhausted that as she worked on her homework, she fell asleep in her chair. Her mother had to help walk her upstairs to get ready for bed. "Good night, Virginia. Sleep well." Virginia's mother kissed her daughter on the forehead as she climbed under the quilt. "Good night, mother," said Virginia with a yawn. But as she drifted off to sleep, she dreamed of ghosts. Tip-tap, tip-tap. Virginia popped on her eyes with a burst of fear. What was the sound? She sat up and listened carefully, holding her breath. Tip-tap, tip-tap. "Mother, is that you?" Virginia whispered ungently. But there was no answer, only a strange, mysterious sound. What was it? Ghost? Was it ghosts? Her father always preached that there was usually a simple answer to a simple problem, and so she decided to find out. Tip tap, tip tap. Virginia jumped out of bed and ran over to her bedroom window to see if maybe a tree branch was brushing against the glass. While peering outside, she watched the wind whip up leaves across the grass under a full moon. Tip-tap, tip-tap. Virginia realized that the mysterious sound was not coming from below her, but from above her. There were no bedrooms on the top floor, so it must be an animal, Virginia thought. Maybe a raccoon snuck into the attic and it is clawing its way out. Virginia got back in bed, feeling much better than that. She had convinced herself there were no ghosts and soon fell into a deep sleep. Lies and lullabies. The next morning at breakfast, Virginia told her parents about the sounds she heard coming from the attic. "I will look up there after breakfast," said her father, with a quick glance toward her mother. "Can I go with you?" asked Virginia. She saw a flash of worry across her mother's face. "No, dear," said Mother. "The attic is dusty, and you will get your dress dirty." Virginia was disappointed, but she knew better than to argue with her mother. Later that day, Virginia helped her mother hang meat to smoke behind the fireplace. "I thought we had one ham left," said Virginia with a confused look on her face. What happened to it?" she asked. Her mother looked away without answering, which Virginia thought was strange. Her mother was often short with her, but never ignored her. That evening, at dinner, Virginia asked her father about the animal in the attic. "Did you find anything?" Her father shook his head, saying, "Maybe a couple of squirrels got in there, but it's nothing to worry about." Virginia noticed a shared glance between her parents. That night, Virginia laid in bed waiting to fall asleep, but was having trouble because she was thinking about the missing ham. She wondered if the missing ham and the sounds in the attic were somehow connected. Had a giant dragon somehow stolen their ham and dragged it upstairs? Then Virginia thought she had heard sounds, but she didn't. She heard voices. Virginia sat up and listened, but she could not hear any words, only the murmur of a whisper. Someone, a woman, was singing very softly, perhaps a lullaby, but Virginia did not recognize the words of the melody. She heard from Caleb at school that ghosts made strange sounds, but could they sing too? Virginia got out of bed and ran to her parents' room. "Mother, father," she called out, "there were people in the attic. I heard someone singing." "Hush, child," scolded her mother. "You will make your baby sister." "But I heard someone singing a lullaby," Virginia insisted. "It must have been your mother," said Virginia's father. "She was singing to the baby." Virginia glanced at her mother. She was leaning over the baby's cradle. "Go back to bed, Virginia," she said without raising her eyes. Virginia went back to her bedroom feeling annoyed and confused because she knew all her mother's favorite lullabies. The tune she had heard earlier was not any of them, but why would her father lie to her? "Maybe our home is haunted after all," thought Virginia. "Maybe mother and father know about the ghosts and don't want me to be scared." Virginia climbed back into bed, where she strained to hear more singing, but the house was oddly silent. Virginia liked that less than the noises. Something or someone was directly above her, but who or what was it? She slipped deeper under her quilt. shadows beyond the door. The next morning, Virginia went into the pantry to get a jar of peaches for breakfast, but there were none on the shelf. Virginia remembered that there had been 3 jars left the last time she looked. Who had eaten all those peaches? Was it the same person or thing that took our ham to ghost it? Virginia asked her parents at breakfast. Virginia's father chuckled, but her mother was not amused. "What nonsense," she said. Virginia was not sure she believed if she believed in ghosts or not, but was tired of being treated like a kid. So she decided that she would sneak up and explore the attic on her own.